There is a sixth sense beyond that which is known to man. It is a sense that is as sought after as the Holy Grail and as precious as immortality. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and entertainment, and it lies at the pit of a man's fears and the summit of his genius. This sense, of course, is a sense of humor, and this is Sense of Humor TV.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Sense of Humor TV. Today I have another comedian as a guest, my good friend, the hilarious Heidi Langenfeld.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome to Sense of Humor TV. Time to tap in. Obviously, we want to start with a nice little cheers. Good to see you.
Cheers.
Yeah. I could act like I haven't seen you in a while, but I pretty much see you every week, so This is not like we're not going to act like we haven't seen each other and try to catch up for everybody. We hang out on the regular.
Yes.
Heidi is the other host of the mic I go to at Flappers that Sean Porter, episode 2 guest, hosts. So that's how we first met. But Heidi's another hilarious comedian, friend of mine. She constantly makes me laugh, kills me on and off the stage. So I definitely wanted to get her in. You're our first female guest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Look at that.
yeah, we had
Diversity.
to. Before I got canceled, I had to have a I had to have a female on
now
real
I
quick.
understand why you asked.
Yeah, right. That's why we became friends. I was just like, I gotta have her on my podcast, and now after this, we probably won't ever talk again.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah. So, like I said, Heidi's a comedian. She is, shocker, not from Los Angeles, like most of us aren't out here.
Yeah.
Your home is Minnesota.
I'm from Minnesota. Yeah.
From Minnesota. When did you move to LA?
I've lived here twice. The first time I moved here when I was 19 or 20, and I lived here for a year. And then I've been here about 5 years this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is me just being curious and stuff I've actually waited to ask you on the podcast. Some of it I may know, a little insider trading there. But so when you moved out here the second time, was it for comedy or was it for, anything else?
No, I just decided. I was like, I was living in Boston, and I do not care for Boston. And
we won't lose any fans there. This is a very heavy hate Boston podcast.
Is it? Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan.
Sometimes
I grew up.
I say that, and people are like,
no, hate the Patriots, hate the Red Sox.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even really care about sports, but I'm like, fuck the Patriots.
I've never been there, though. I didn't know you lived there.
I did. I lived there like 7 years.
What?
I wasted 7 years of my precious life.
How did I not know this?
It's so bro-y. Like, going out in Boston is like a bunch of North Face puffer vests and
no.
adventure shoes being worn not on an adventure. You know what I mean?
I feel like for those of you who don't know, Heidi's gay. I feel like the gay scene is also very weird there.
There's no.
Yeah, there isn't
There's
one.
no gay scene.
Yeah, it's like.
It's all dudes. And all they say is, what college did you go to?
Oh, no.
What college did you go to? My backpack's bigger than yours. And they all wear fucking backpacks. I'm like,
Oh
you're
my
not even in
God.
college anymore. What do you got in your backpack?
Oh
It's
my!
so big.
Coming from someone who lived in San Francisco, that's such a
Knocking
different.
people over.
Oh my God!
I hate it.
Were you working out? Were you a flight attendant out there as well?
Yeah, I've been a flight attendant for 15 years.
Holy shit! When are we gonna have a 15-year party?
I just had my anniversary last month, so we could have a party.
Has it always been for JetBlue, right?
Yeah.
Always.
I hate it though. I'm trying to quit. But
Go to Heidi's shows, so we'll get her off the planes here soon.
Yeah. Follow me on Instagram so I can be Insta-famous.
Yeah, we'll watch.
Get ad space.
This is gonna get you at least 3 or 4 more followers.
God, I'm gonna be so popular.
Yeah,
if I don't change my name again.
I'm telling you, the Sense of Humor TV bump, it's a real. They talk about the Joe Rogan Experience bump, but
4,000 views.
Hey.
I mean, that's what I'm doing here,
Oh shit! All right, we're off to a good start. So you lived in Boston before. Was Minnesota, Boston, and here like the 3 places you've lived, or have you been like on
I
all?
lived in Florida for 4 years, and New York for 2 years.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So did you start doing stand-up out here? Or did you do a little there? Other
I
places?
did a little bit in Boston, but like not much at all.
Yeah.
I started out here like more seriously probably in like 2018, but then the pandemic, and so I stopped doing it for a while because Zoom comedy wasn't fun.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thank God I got to stay out of the Zoom comedy world. I got here but right as the pandemic was kind of easing up.
You came here at the end?
I came here like right at the end. I did shout out to episode 4 that dropped today. I did that movie What's My Name Again out here.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, San Francisco was shut down, and I just was going crazy. So I saw it was kind of more open here, and then I found this place, and I jumped on it. Yeah, so I got lucky. I know a lot of people who moved here like right before.
Yeah.
So it's like I especially with comedy, I know that was tough. But so yeah, you started in Boston, and then when you got here, did you kind of hit the ground running with it, or were you kind of? I mean, you can't really hit the ground running, but were you when you got here, were you like, hey, I want to keep doing comedy, or was it kind of more of you were just sick of Boston?
I was sick of Boston, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll like get back into doing like comedy or like acting, because I acted when I was a kid. And,
Okay.
I went to conservatory for acting.
Oh, really?
So I'm professional.
Okay.
I haven't acted in forever, but yeah, I was just like, I want to do something creative, but no, I didn't start doing it right away. It's been a couple years since I've been taking it more seriously. And you know how it is. It's like you have days where you feel like you're doing so good and you're so funny, and then you have other days where you're like, I suck at this. I don't want to do it anymore. I feel like shit. I'm not funny.
You just hit me in the heart right there, because I mean, I go through that like every other week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you'll do 2 shows back to back that you're like, wow, this is great, and then like a
Yeah.
week goes by where you don't have a show or something like that, and you're just like, oh my God, am I ever gonna get booked again? You know what I mean? And
Yeah, exactly.
as my mom would say, though, one of my her greatest quotes is when comedians talk to me about like quitting that I like think are, good. I always drop them with, don't quit a minute before the miracle. You don't want to, you don't want to quit, and then next week would have been like your big break. So
yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's one thing to keep you going. And I know you're not thinking about quitting. You would be crazy too. But
I'm not gonna quit.
no, I've never had that in my head. But even when it's funny you said I didn't know that you did acting before, but I was planning on asking you that because just doing 2 movies that I helped produce, I wish so bad that I was living here already when we had a cast for those movies. You know what I mean? Especially, yeah, because it was like there's so many parts that we could have filled with people I know.
Yeah.
And like that's the first guy who was on the podcast, Ray Solis. He is one of my friends from college that lives out here, and he's an actor. So immediately I was like, hey, I'm gonna get you in the film. I know you'd be great. He's one of the broy best friends of the whatever. And I think back to that, but I had we went through a lot of film. We went for the main character. We watched over 1,000 auditions or something crazy.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. So I could have saved some time for some parts. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But also, it's funny because now I always have like that eye for like, I wonder if they act. I wonder if you act. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was planning on asking you that because I could definitely see you. I could definitely see you acting. You fit and I feel like I'm the same way with like I fit a certain type of role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you started how old were you when you started acting? Was that something you wanted to do, or your parents into it, or how'd that go?
I wanted to do it. I auditioned for a play when I was 12 because my friend wanted to be in it, my friend Kendall. And
Shout out
she
Kendall.
didn't get cast.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, that's
Sorry,
always the
Kendall.
worst. Yeah.
When Kendall watches this, because it's going to go viral.
Yeah, sorry, Kendall.
Sorry,
Throw us a
Kendall.
like.
She didn't get into the play. I did, and then I kept doing it for years and years. It was like I did. I was like the field trip. Like I got to take off school for it, so I felt like I was very special.
Was
and
like a company in
talented.
Minnesota or something
Yeah,
like that? Cool.
yeah. And then I went to acting school when I was 18. I moved to New York for that, and then I started flight attending when I was really young. Such a bad choice. But
what attracted you to like being a flight attendant? Was it like the money, or you needed something, or was it just kind of you had a friend that was into it? Or
seriously, one day I just went, I think I'll just apply to be a flight attendant
really?
because I can fly for free, and I've always liked to travel. So I'm like, I'm just gonna apply to be a flight attendant, and I did, and I got hired like immediately. But apparently, it's hard to get hired. Like I know people that had to like, submit to like a bunch of different airlines, and
Oh, I
don't know.
mean,
I just kind of fell into it. But
yeah, I mean, I've known people in the flight industry, but that's funny because like I don't know, having your unique perspective on it, seeing you talk about it at the mic and doing stand up, it's always a little, I guess, different than you expect off the bat. But I mean, you're 15 years in now, so you probably have seen everything, done everything with you're a seasoned vet on the.
yeah, and I think I'm crabbier than most people about it. Like, I don't know. I just don't have a lot of patience, so it's probably not the right job for me.
Yeah, that's why I kind of, I used to work in an office setting, and I was like, this doesn't work, because I was just very like, like blunt.
And I am too. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I just like, people are like, oh, we're delayed. It's so fucking annoying. And I'm like, I know it is, isn't it? Like, I can't coddle you because I just can't anymore. Like, I'm just like, I know I'm late too. Like, I'm fucking here too. Like, I'm just so sick of being treated like I'm not a human being.
I think that's why
I just shouldn't work here anymore. I mean,
I think that's why I like your comedy so much, is because we both have that quality of just like, it's like, it's nonchalant, but it's very, not that we don't care about people's feelings, but it's in that realm of my humor. So I think that's what kind of immediately I was like, who's this? Like, she's funny.
yeah, you have a lot of the same, like, you and I are very similar with our humor. We think the same shit's funny. We like offensive jokes.
Yeah. And you have like kind of the same delivery as me, where it's not dry, but it's like more of like, people go up there and they scream and they're like very like, Sam Kinison or whatever. And neither of us are ever, this is as loud as we get pretty much.
We're a little more monotone.
Yeah. We're a little more monotone. We're a little more whatever. Yeah. And it's funny because it's weird that the first person I've met that kind of has a similar style to me is a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like, I've done stand up now for a little bit in like a couple different cities, and I've never been like, oh, they're kind of similar to me, until I saw you and I was like,
Yeah.
we have a weird similar comedy style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I remember when I first brought that up to you, you're like, we do.
It's true. Yeah, because I also don't see that. I don't know. We also like have a way of delivering, like saying jokes that like certain people might be offended by, like certain comics couldn't say.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
don't
we
know
can get
why.
away with it.
I don't know why.
Yeah. No, you're
'Cause
right.
I feel like we both do care about people's feelings. We do inside. Because
Probably
I think,
too much.
that's what, because I'm really sensitive, and
Yeah.
like I actually am a very sensitive person, but you wouldn't know that because I seem like such a cunt. I do, but like I don't know if the tenderness comes through on stage or something in a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
know, because I actually care a lot. I'm a really like empathetic, caring person, but I just
Well, there's something to it that like, I don't know, you can tell you're joking, which should be obvious. Like, again, to the people that are listening home, like that should be fucking obvious. Like that, hey, I'm a comedian, I'm telling jokes. But like, I mean, you can't tell you how many people go out there and they're just like, I'm gonna go out and get offended tonight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I think it helps from a lot of people that you're like I said, in the same sense as me, is like people can tell off the jump that you're like fucking around.
yeah,
Which again should be obvious, but people are
right.
today's people. So you move out to LA. Where was the first, like, if you remember, which I'm gonna, hopefully you do. Where's like the first like mic or whatever you did out here?
I used to go to the Fourth Wall a lot. Have you gone to that?
I haven't. I need to.
You haven't gone to the Fourth Wall?
No, I've been to a very surprisingly little amount of places. Like, I was talking about that with another comedian, and they're like, "You've been here?" And I'm like, "No." Like, here? No. You there? No. I was like, I need to get around. That's like my
You
one
should
thing.
go to the Fourth Wall.
I'll go with you.
It's very I'm always the only girl. I mean, there's occasionally another girl in there, but it is very dude centric. And like, you know how like at our mic, like comics are not afraid to laugh at each other.
Yeah.
Like, we have a good time. Nobody's laughing at the Fourth Wall. It's very like, it's so weird. It's like,
Dude.
It's like, Jesus.
Have
like,
you been to
I don't
that-
know. It's very like, everybody thinks they're like really fucking cool. I don't know. Not every time I go, but it's just not a super friendly mic.
Yeah.
In my experience.
And I think that's like one thing that kind of like didn't ruin, but it's like that's one thing that's kind of ruined mics for me is like I'm so used to either doing shows or doing like the mics at Flappers, and they're very that way. You know what I mean? You ever been to that Eno Vino mic over there?
No.
Bro, don't.
Eno Vino?
Eno Vino. It's like a wine bar that's right at Atwater Village.
Oh, God.
Dude, I went one time and people were like, oh, maybe you had a bad experience. But like, I mean, I went in and like people were kind of giving that same vibe of like they thought they're like, we're too cool for school, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they started like, it was like the opposite of our mics where it's like, they started heckling each other kind of. And I was like, what's going on?
Did they know each other?
Yeah, but it wasn't like us like playing around. It was more of just like mean, and then the person would get upset, and then they would like go back at them. You know,
that's weird.
It was really terrible, and I remember it was the day that Russia invaded Ukraine.
Oh shit!
And it's in like I'm going to a mic at a winery, so I'm thinking like it's gonna be outdoor, you know, whatever. It's like in the cellar. It's like in the basement. It's like
Did you
pipes.
have a glass of fine?
I was so confused. There was like pipes going across, you know, like we're in like and so I said on stage and like I don't know what kind of mic it was. It might have been a little more woke or whatever. Because I was like the first thing I said, I was like, oh yeah, it's my first time here. I always wanted to do stand up in a Ukrainian bomb shelter, and yeah, it didn't go. It was like the day they got invaded, and it didn't go great.
Nobody liked that.
No, and then so I didn't go back. I got a parking ticket too, so it was a good day.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
But I was like, oh, this is Tuesday. I don't have any of the mics to go on Tuesday.
I think that mics, like I found, like are very cliquey because like the certain comics go to certain mics, and like even our mic, like we all have that group that come every week.
True.
But I feel like when new people come, we're never ever like, who's this person?
No.
In fact, we try to make a joke about, oh, this person's new, like a lighthearted joke.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's that's why I like it, because it should be fun, and you should feel free to not do a good job. You should feel free to fucking suck. That's what it's for.
And that's when like the comics become friends with us, is when they can like take those jokes and then come back at us. You know what I mean? And it's like that's how you become friends with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, and there's, you know, like that Sophie girl that's been coming around.
I love her.
Yeah, right? So it's like, she gets it. Like,
My
you know what I
little-
mean? And then the other
that
dude who
little
was working the
bitch.
door that was like that real tall dude, I can't remember. He just moved back to like Oregon or something like that. But he came out and was like talking to me and Sean out front the other night and was just like being like, oh, I'm moving back when I'm coming back to LA and like yada, yada, yada. And it's like,
the intern.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
about. So cute.
So sweet,
yeah,
right?
I loved him.
So same kind of vibe where it's like, if you get it and you're like friendly and blah, 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 like we're as welcoming as you can be.
Yeah, I can't fathom anybody that we were not welcoming to, aside from that really racist woman.
Yeah, that did happen.
And even her, I felt kind of bad for, because she did have a disorder.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I felt terrible for her, but
But you can't be racist.
I felt even worse that I didn't get to go up after her. Like Sean was he literally came over and he's like, I'm about to put you up again. And I was like, dude, please. Like, I have so much to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of the vibe. But no, I haven't been to Fourth Wall. That's and then did you
and
like?
It's not all fourth walls.
Gotcha.
Like there's one, like a cafe that I've been to during the day, just so if anybody is watching this that wants to go. That one I've gone to during the day, and that's a bit of a friendlier crowd. The one in North Hollywood is specifically the one that I used to go to.
Gotcha.
And that was pre-pandemic, and it was so like, and I've heard other comics say that. So, and then also I went to the Hollywood Comedy. It's also a dark, very dark room. Have you gone there?
Yes, I was there on Saturday.
That was I think that's a pretty good mic.
Yeah.
It's very dark during the daytime, which is a little bit disorienting.
Mm-hmm. And then so from there, I'm just gonna. There. But did you like meet someone right away that you kind of became friends with, or did anyone kind of like? Do you remember like? Okay, I want to go back a little bit. Do you remember the first time in Boston or whatever, like that you did stand up? How did it go? Do you have any kind of stories from that?
The first time I did a show was in Boston, and I didn't record it, and none of my friends recorded it. So,
did you go right to doing a show though? Like, how did that happen?
I took a class.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And all my friends said I was funny, but you can't count on that.
100%.
Who knows? I thought I was funny, but I can't remember.
And
I
you
still
probably think
use one of the jokes from that set.
Really?
though.
What joke
Yeah.
is it? Do I know it?
The joke about my mom.
Oh, okay, that's a great joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the joke that probably got you being like, I'm pretty funny. Like, because that is, I was just gonna say
That's
like,
a good. That's like.
that's a perfect example of like, I don't want to ruin the joke, but you drop an offensive thing in
It's
it.
offensive.
And
yeah.
yeah, and it's like I love that joke. Though.
But like you can't be mad at me.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like your whole style. Like it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was so you did a class out there, and then it was like you had like a kind of like a show at the end of the class.
Yeah,
or?
but I remember that class being so weird because I do remember some of the stuff from that class, and there was no like teaching of structure, and they didn't time us, and they didn't light us, and it was just like very weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then when I came out here, I did some mics, and then I thought I'm going to take a class because for me, accountability is really like, that's why I like hosting that mic because it makes me go up.
100%.
And then I do the show after. I always am on the show after. And
Having
it's a
discipline in this business is everything.
different show every Wednesday. So at least once a week, I'm in a show, and once a week, I'm at a mic. Usually more, but this forces me. I need to be accountable. So I took a class out here too.
No, that's all. That's a great.
It just makes you right because you can't show up with nothing. You can, but you look like an idiot and you're wasting your money.
And I feel like you're at the point where I'm at, where it's like it's once you start writing on stage, it's so much better. You know what I mean? Like, because you can tell like if something works immediately. Like I have been dying. Like I haven't done the Tuesday mic at Flappers in months, and I'm leaving on Wednesday to go back. So I literally signed up right before you got here to do the Tuesday mic because I'm dying to do this joke I wrote the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to I'll do it for you right now. You don't have to laugh.
Yeah, do it.
But basically, I'm just gonna go up and be like, hey, you guys hear Kanye's like coming out with a new song? Yeah, it's called Nazis in Paris. And it's gonna be in German. Like that's it. I don't know how I'm gonna work it out on stage. You know what I'm saying? But it's like
It's gonna be in German.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a new album. You know, I'll figure it out when I get up there. But I have the idea, and I'm like, I can't.
wish I could see that.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't. I know. I told it to Sean the other day, and he was just like, "Fuck, why aren't you coming to our mic?" And I was like, I almost want to. I can't wait to do this joke so bad that I can't. I almost want to change my flight.
And what time's your flight?
It's like 2:30, right? I know. It's like because I want to see. I can't wait to see the reaction to it. Yeah.
I need to do some. Everybody's doing Kanye jokes. I don't want to do it, but
I
it's
haven't.
like,
It just came to me. You know what's the stupid thing? I was playing Xbox with my friends, and I just said it. I was just like, "Yeah, you guys hear that new and they started dying, and I was like, "I should probably do that on stage." It was like one of those. Like
he's such good. He's got so many things you can make jokes about.
Oh, and the fact that Brittany Goddard actually did end up getting traded for the Russians arms dealer. That joke of mine. Now I can't. It made it even better.
It's so funny.
It's so good.
You said one that, oh my God, Ginger was telling me, she was repeating it to me the other day. The Brittany Griner joke was so fucking funny.
Yeah,
it's very specific.
I was very like when
so
she got released, I was like, please tell me it's for the guy. I was like, please. I was so
Or
happy.
you said it's the best trade that they've ever done.
I was like, that's the biggest trade in the WNBA since.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah, so I can't. That she actually got traded for him. It makes that I was so happy when I saw it. Like literally, Sean. I was in a group text with Sean and then the other Sean.
Yeah.
With a C, and immediately, they both were just like, "Well, that guy's gonna hit now." And I was like, even harder, but yeah. So you started Fourth Wall, and then like I met you at Flappers. Like, was that kind of like what were you? Was that just another spot you would like go to, or how did that? Because now you're like,
did I meet
you're
you
doing
at
everything.
Flappers when I ran the mic, or I just went to the mic?
I think I met you when you just went, and then you started like. Again, same thing. Like, you started hanging out, and then
because I used to just go to that mic.
Yeah, and then next thing I know, you're like hosting,
and he's so fun, and I love him. But he had to quit because his porno career was taking off, as one does.
Yeah,
you know,
the same career trajectory we're trying to take.
I'm thinking about getting into it too.
100%.
You know,
behind the camera, man.
I'm like, maybe I should do an OnlyFans.
I mean. I think, especially with your niche, it would definitely take off.
I just don't know if I want that out there forever.
Yeah, right.
You know? I don't know why I give a shit.
Right. I mean,
honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many.
But why would you pay for it? You can literally Google free porn,
dude,
and watch porn.
I'm glad we're talking about this because I'm the same way where it's like. Bro, I remember one time.
Porn is free.
Dude, we had about, everyone's going to love this that knows me. We had about like, I'm not exaggerating, probably like 30 dudes on the same browser's account. Like, and no one knew whose account it was. Like, someone got the password to someone's account, then gave it to someone, then gave it to someone, and then it turned into like.
Wait, for somebody's OnlyFans?
To someone's, like, just like, all right, porn's already already free, but then there's like a porn like site, you know what I mean? And someone got some poor sap was paying for like 50 dudes to
Wow.
use. Yeah. So and then he stopped paying the bill.
I
and
want to know why you pay for porn. I mean, I know some of the girls will like give you specific attention. So like if somebody like gives more money, you'd be like, "Oh, thanks, user 198."
Yeah, and that's all they need.
You're so nice. And then does that like get the guy off so hard that he's willing to put money out?
That's how you know that like as weird as people might think guys are, they're weirder than you think. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
mean,
Like, I've always told girls this. I'm like, I'm always like, people, girlfriends of mine would be like, you're too protective. And I'm like, no, guys are just sick. Like, and trust me.
No, guys are gross.
I'm like, I'm sick, and they're sick. There's dudes that are 20 times sicker than me that are paying. Like I said, like, if you're paying for that, you're already on a path of who knows what.
It's just weird. I mean, like, I don't know. Also, like, if you're not a total like fucking weirdo, you can have sex. You could everybody can find somebody willing to have sex with them.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I mean,
I
was even, on another.
Getting laid is not that hard.
This is
even for really weird people. There's somebody for everybody. Find your fellow weirdo. You know what I mean?
That's like my dating in LA joke. It's like, bro, there's
somebody for everybody.
You'll love this. I was thinking about this last night, not in other terms. I was driving last night and I drove past like these people leaving like one of those like conventions where it's just like everyone's like a total like dressing up like a
furry.
I don't know if it was furry, but it was also like very, and like everyone was like, you just see everyone. There's like a person that's. They were just all kinds of characters, right?
Like
and I see
kink.
them. I see them.
Was it kink or was it just a character?
I couldn't really tell, but they were all walking like out of this outdoor festival together, and it was just a bunch of people that normally you'd be like, it's probably hard for that person to find a friend, and they were all hanging out together. And I swear in my head, I was like, I'm happy that they. Like literally, I did. And yeah, so it's kind of funny.
See, that's the sweet part of you.
See, that's
like, look at those fucking weirdos. Good for them. Weirdos.
That's my comedy in a nutshell. Yeah, 100%. He's like, I have a big heart. I'm the nicest guy to the biggest weird.
Like,
I love
those
the bully.
goddamn freaks. I'm so happy they found each other.
Literally, that's literally. It's funny that
that's what I would think too. I'd be like, look at those fucking psychos.
This was literally last night this happened. Yeah. So, yeah, I have that soft spot in my heart for those all you weirdos that are watching this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like after the first time you did it, after your like first show in Boston, was it in Boston when you did your first show?
Yeah, but then I just stopped. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, haha, I'm so funny. I did it. But I started doing it out here, and then
like really hitting it.
Yeah. I like actually going out and like trying and stuff. Well, you know what I mean. You really have to go out a lot. You do.
Dude.
It's like, that's why I hate my job so much. Cause like, comedy is like its own job. If you actually want to have any success, you have to put enough time in it that it's like having another job. Like my girlfriend's always like, you have 2 jobs. And I'm like, well, only one of them fucking pays me. Because if you do make any money in comedy, it's like $25 here and there. It's very little. You can't, you could buy a drink. You know what I mean? It's not so, but you need the amount of time. So the amount of time I've been putting in, I have been doing that in the last like maybe like year. I've been really taking it a lot more seriously, and it's like, it's hard because I have a money job too.
I can't wait for like so many people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Like, and I commend you for like, being able to like juggle both. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't able to. Like, I used to work in professional sports, and people were always like, "Why don't you do both?" And I'm like, I can't.
I know. I want to quit my job so badly.
I
So because then I could like put way more time into this.
I know. I was like, I'm the wrong I'm gonna push you. I'll push you too. You know what I mean? Like, I remember last time we were talking about it, and Ginger's like, "Shut up."
Sean's always telling me, he's like, "You gotta go out every night." I'm like, "Sean, I gotta get up at fucking 6 a.m. and do a 14-hour day." I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I couldn't do it. I literally couldn't. So I literally had to just pick one or the other,
Right.
And now I just like, I'm way broker than I used to be, and I just odd job around. But it was like that thing where it's like people don't understand that it's like you have to do it full time to like.
You have to be out there. You have to be seen. You have to be friendly with people. You have to be social when you don't feel like being social.
You have to have anxiety like us.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. We both have terrible social anxiety.
And we're both comedians. Doesn't that work? Good.
But like when I know somebody, I can have so much fun and be so social. And like there are certain nights where I'm not feeling it, but other days I just am like, it's like debilitating. It sucks, man. But I feel like a lot of comics have that.
Yeah, I feel like 100%. Like, and I mean, because no one can be like that all the time. You know what I mean? That's why it's nice to have like friends like us, because it's like you don't, you can kind of turn it off for a second and just be like, oh, dude, fuck,
I get sick of being on. And honestly, I can't even like be on anymore. I think I took all my onness, like being a flight attendant. Because I used to be a sprightly little shit. Like I was a cute little flight attendant. I wore the skirt. I was a cute little thing.
Probably you being on stage kind of like, I can't be doing this 24/7. Yeah, like I need to.
That's why I'm such a dry comic, because I'm like, I gave it all away.
That is kind of interesting, and that is kind of one of the funniest parts about when you do talk about being a flight attendant on stage, is like you're so dry, and then you get in your mind, you're like, I could picture her, having to put it on, and that's why it's like adds to being funny, is like you being like, fuck this, and then but I can't picture you just same thing, like dolled up, smiling and being all bubbly because you have to be or whatever. So yeah, so I mean, that's a definitely interesting journey. I don't think anyone's had quite the same journey on their stuff. I mean, we've had, I know, couple actors, comedians, everything like that. But I think that is the one thing that is the defining thing that brings guests on this show is. I mean, I would say is there, especially in the comedy scene, is like you meet a lot of people who are out as much as us, that, not to say whatever, that aren't as funny, you know what I mean? But they're out as much. And then you meet other people who are as funny, but then they're not out as much.
Yeah.
And it's like when you get that combination of that you're like working really hard and you're really funny, it's like, it's just one of those bound to happen kind of things in my mind, you know what I mean?
It's so hopeful.
That's just, I mean, that's how I feel about, everybody who comes on this podcast, is like, that's the reason I have those people on, is because I'm like, you're working hard and you're really funny, even if it's acting, same thing. It's like the actors that I have on here, it's like, you're really hardworking and you're really good, at acting. So it's like, it's just bound to happen, there's a lot of fish in the pond, but I think they're going to rise to the top. We can go in a couple different directions now. I usually talk about, so what was it like? Did you grow up like loving stand up, or were you kind of like had a off and on relationship, or was there like a couple stand ups that you really liked, or how did that hold?
I grew up really liking comedy. Like I loved Lucille Ball as a kid. Like I used to watch, oh my God, I used to rewatch those, or like Laverne and Shirley. Like back when they would have like Nick at Night, but it was like really old shows, you know? I would watch that, and I just thought she was really funny, and I liked the women that were funny, not just like really beautiful and like being like, of course I think Marilyn Monroe's gorgeous and stuff, but like it was like I liked the women that could make me laugh, so maybe that's where I decided I wanted to do it. But I've always been kind of like the one trying to make a joke out of stuff,
Yeah, were you like a class clown growing up, or?
No, not really.
Yeah, what kind of girl were you in school?
I was actually in grade school. I was like a real nerd, like a real like gross little dirty kid. Like I was unkempt, and I was not popular. I was made fun of a lot.
Really? Bullied?
Yeah, I was bullied as a young kid, and then 7th and 8th grade, I got like a little bit of a growth spur, and I like, started wearing nicer clothes a little bit, and probably like put gel in my hair or something.
I hear that.
But like I still was not wildly popular, but it just wasn't like so bad. But when I was a kid, people were really mean to me. It sucked.
Did you get made fun of because of your name?
Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Like if you're
Weird A names.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, August and Heidi, Idaho. Yeah, that was one of my best mic jokes right there. But yeah, I mean, no, I got the same. I mean, if you're just even growing up in like, we're both from the Midwest, I guess. If you're different at all out there, you're a punching bag.
And what's so funny is like all the kids who like were kind of mean to me. I'm like because in high school, like I'm from the Midwest, you know, you run into those people again. You start to in high school, like I was like okay with some of the people that were like mean to me when I was younger. And they're all fucking married to each other and they all have a bunch of kids. And I'm like, how does it feel to know that you have all fucked each other's husbands? Because like that used to be your boyfriend and now you switched boyfriends and now you married. I mean, it's so weird. I'm
trust
like,
me.
you never went anywhere.
Hey, shout out Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, mate.
I'm like, you didn't travel, you didn't do anything, which is fine. It's okay to do that. But it's just interesting that I cared so much what these people thought when I was little, and now I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
100%. Like, once you like move away, it like I know people that have never been on an airplane.
I do too. Isn't that weird?
Isn't that crazy? With how much you've been on an airplane, yeah, especially it's like
my dog has traveled more than most people I know.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's totally different, especially like you said, that's why I like to ask at the top of the show is like where you've kind of been, you know what I mean? Because like if you've been in New York, you've been in Boston, you've been here, it's like you live in the three biggest cities in the country, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, same thing. Austin, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Oakland, you know what I mean? And it's weird because like people tell you that growing up, like, oh, you're not gonna care what those people think when you're older, and then but it really is crazy how you're.
And you never believe it.
You never believe it. It's because that's your world back then. That's your whole world. And I was the same way where like I grew up moving around a lot. And then I finally found a school, and then I was different. I got made fun of, and I think that's why I'm so witty is because I had to like when a bully said something to me, if I said I learned if I said something funny back, like making fun of them, then then they stopped picking on me. Yeah. So I like how you're like, yeah, I was bullied. I'm laughing over here, but that's why, you know.
I mean, you know, it's like a lot of people who are cool were, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That is really what
I don't know. I don't actually have a lot of friends I think that were like, I was so popular. I don't know.
It's funny because technically I was popular, but it was like weird because like I was friends with everybody. That's what it was. Like I was friends with the weird kids. I was friends with the nerds. I played football, so I was friends with the jocks. But it's like, I wasn't really like, I was very like, I only have a couple people I'm close friends with, but I was friendly with everyone.
I was kind of like that in high school. Like I got like friendly with everybody. But I remember I had a friend in high school that everybody was calling gay all the time. And he said he wasn't gay. And so I was like, he's not gay till he says he's gay. And people were like mad at me about that. He's a big old fag now, but like, but I'm like, who gives a fuck how he wants to present? I mean, he was wearing fucking pink nail polish, but until he says he's gay, and I was like, being that person standing up for people, and I've always been like that. I'm always like, don't fuck with people for no reason. It's so fucking mean. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just. I've
said it before, maybe on this podcast, but like my one friend Jack, he was the one who first like said it in the words where I was like, he's like, bro, you love to bully bullies. He's like, you can't. He's like, you can't help yourself. And I was like, I really can't. Like, I literally love it. Like, there's been so many instances where I'm out with like people I know, and it's just like, I was out last year and I was wearing a LeBron James jersey up in Pittsburgh, and this guy's like being a drunk asshole at the bar, like so one of the circle bars, so everyone has to listen to this guy the whole fucking game or whatever. And then he's like, hey, I'll buy you a beer to turn that jersey inside out and sit there for the rest of the game. And just me, I just go, yeah, I'll buy you a beer to shut the fuck up and leave me alone. And just the whole bar was like, thank you, like fucking shut up. Like it's just shit like that where it's just like I can't stand. But it's funny that we kind of have that both similarity of the little bullying that kind of turns you into, because I was the same way. It was like, younger it happened to me, but by the time I got to high school, it was like I was completely
nobody really fucked with me in high school. I mean, maybe it's because I stopped caring. I don't know.
Were you like obviously you're gorgeous now, but were you an ugly duckling? Did that always happen? You said you grew up a little tattered and stuff when
I was a real weird looking kid. Because I have naturally curly hair, and if I would stay with my dad, I just didn't brush my hair because my dad's like, I don't fucking know what to do. And if you brush curls, what happens?
Dude, it's a mess.
So I would brush my fucking curly hair.
It's a mess.
I look like it was like, that shouldn't matter, but no, I wasn't like a cute kid. I had a huge gap in my teeth that wasn't a cute gap. You know what I mean? It was like
I had braces twice.
This kid should have had braces gap. It grew together itself. But,
really, I had braces twice. I had my front teeth were like this, so they had to move them like this and then move them together. And also, I can tell you, I have 2 screws in this finger. I'm all fucked up.
Why do you have screws in that finger?
I broke it playing football.
Oh.
And talk
So
about
rugged.
bedside manner. The guy put on my X-ray. I went to like I went home because like I had broken my finger so many times. I like just went home and like ate dinner and like did my homework, and I was like, oh, something feels not right about this break, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I gotta go to the, and like my mom's 100% Italian. Like she never would like take me to the doctor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I remember I broke my finger for the first time in 7th grade, and I was like, hey mom, I broke my finger. She's like, you're fine. I had to try to sleep the whole night with a fucking broken finger, right? And so much pain. And go to school the next day. I get to homeroom, and as soon as the teacher's like, August, you know, taking attendance, and I was like, here, and she's like, oh my god, and I was like, what? She's like, my finger was like this fucking big, and she was like, you need to go to the nurse, like your finger's broken. I was like, I know, I've been.
I told my dad when I was 16, he almost killed me because all of a sudden I had a really bad stomach ache. I was working at Snyder's drugstore. And I was training somebody in at 16 because I had worked there since I was like 15. So I was like, you know, real senior at Snyder's. And I was like, I have to go to Michael was his name. Michael, if anybody knows him. This
Fucking Michael,
bastard,
bastard,
he was such
man.
an asshole. Michael. And he said I couldn't leave. He said if I left, I would be fired.
Your job?
Yeah. If I left Snyder's drugstore, I'd be fired.
Oh my
it's
God.
now a Walgreens.
You never
Snyder's
would've
is
recovered.
No more. But anyway, so I all of a sudden I was like, it was coming out both ends. I couldn't stand up. So I get home. My dad said I ate a bad Butterfinger. That's what he said. He's like, what'd you eat today? I'm like, a Butterfinger. He's like, oh, it was a bad Butterfinger. I'm like, Dad, they are processed. You can't. So anyway, he sets me a bucket. I sleep with a bucket cross-legged on my twin bed. He sleeps on the floor. 7 a.m. He hands me the cordless phone. He goes, here, call me if you need anything. I call my mom right away. She's like, what the fuck? You've been puking all night? She comes to get me. I have an appendicitis, and it burst the second he took it
No.
out, and he's like, you would have died.
Oh
Because,
my
you know, when it
God.
bursts inside of you, it
Yeah, you
poisons
die-
you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
still tell my dad sometimes, like, remember when you almost killed me?
Holy shit.
He feels so bad. But
I
he just
bet.
thinks he thought I was being so
100%.
dramatic.
And the funniest thing is, my mom's 100% gonna watch this episode, and
Yeah.
she'll be like, "I didn't blah blah blah."
Oh,
blah,
my
blah."
dad watch. He's going to go, I feel so bad. Dad, I'm not upset. Don't worry about it.
It's funny too,
funny
because
now.
but that's just the way. Like my grandma, like basically like helped raise us because my parents started their own business, like my stepdad and my mom. And I mean, dude, my brother ate poison ivy. Like didn't know it was poison. Tried to impress these girls. Ate poison ivy. Did not know it was poison ivy. His eyes were swollen shut, and she sent him to school. And they were like, "You need to go to the hospital." Like he couldn't. His throat's all closed. His eyes are swollen shut. Like that's how insane. Like
The school nurse
and my
was
mom,
like,
and
the
of course my
fucking-
grandma was like, "I had perfect attendance." Like she got an award for having never missed a class, never missed a day. And I'm like so that meant
That's a very Midwest mentality.
Yep,
Like
Grandma Gloria.
I was just watching 2020 the other night, you know, as one does. And it was in Minnesota, murder in Minnesota, and it was this old guy, and he was like, excuse me, that beer.
Oh no, trust me, I've been. Yeah, there might be a couple burps mixed in there, and it's me. Don't worry.
He goes, 9 years old, never been to the doctor. And the lady's like, never been to the doctor? He's like, nope. Well, I got something in my eye once. I mean, like, it's like a point of pride.
Yeah, yeah.
To
It's
just
like, oh no,
fucking deal with it.
yeah, 100%. It's crazy, like the mind state, but yeah, it's I don't know. I'm always curious how like I said, like this is all stuff that like you know I didn't know about you, so
Yeah.
it's always good to get like the person behind the comedian, and I think that's again the point of the show is kind of. You know, once they do see your stuff on stage, and then they kind of go back and be like, "Oh, this is what she's like." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so you grew up like liking you know Lucille.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't watch, like, I mean, like, the stand-ups when I was a kid were, like, you know, Eddie Murphy was, well, he was doing movies at the beginning of the movie. I'm old. I'm a little older than you, August. Robin Williams, I loved him, but he was in movies at that point. You know what I mean?
You know what you're gonna love tonight. By the way, she's gonna be at the Comedy Store tonight, and when you walk up the steps right up to go to the original room stage, and they have a huge neon of Robin Williams right there. So
I love him.
that gives you like a little bit of
when
that'll give
he-
you a little bit of inspiration.
When he died, I cried. I don't normally cry when celebrities die because, you know, I don't fucking know them. I mean, I get sad, but him, I actually cry. I don't know. I felt like he was like, I'm related to him. I loved him. I feel like a lot of people felt that way about him because he just had a way of, he was very empathetic. He was a person who really cared. But
No, and he's one of those guys that I always say, like, obviously I'm a huge Kobe guy. Like, you'll never watch another player play like he played. You'll never watch
Yeah.
another dude stand out like Robin did it.
But I read his biography, and a lot of people said he stole jokes.
Really?
Like, apparently, like, he would go into mics, like, later in his career, and people would, like, they had a signal they'd put on the light, and the comics would stop doing new material.
Really?
Or they'd go, I'm done, and leave. Now, we don't know if that's true.
I feel like it isn't just for the fact that, like, he's so sporadic. You know what I mean?
His comedy was, like, not even, like, jokes. There was no, like, rule of threes in that. It wasn't anything like
and
that.
there was
just,
no, like, yeah. Yeah, there
like,
was no thinking. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
exactly.
have you ever seen his bit about golf?
God, I don't know. Probably.
I'm gonna show it to you after this because
Okay.
it's like 3
He's
minutes,
just
but it's
so funny because
it's
he
so
is
good.
funny.
It's so
Like,
good. He's talking about like how he's talking about how when he goes to Scotland because that's where they invented golf. He's like, as soon as I get off the airplane, he's like, hey mate, blah, blah, blah. He just starts talking
then he
gibberish,
becomes- Yeah.
And then he's like, he's like, that's how you know they came up with golf, He's like a bunch of guys drinking in a pub and they're like, hey, I'm gonna go, oh, you mean like pool? No, not like pool. I'm gonna put the hole hundreds of meters away. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're gonna hit it with a stick like hockey? Oh, no. Or like, it's gonna be a little broken stick. He goes on this whole rant about how how insane you have to be to come up with that sport. Which
Yeah,
they're like, oh, you're gonna do this one time? Oh no, 18 times.
Yeah.
It's just
No,
it's
I
the best
love-
bit.
No, but I think I wanted to, like, I loved it, but I also think, like, later in life, like, I was like, when I was doing acting, it was like, it really was a lot about what you look like and stuff. And I like comedy because you have to be funny. You have to be good at it. You can't, being hot doesn't get you anywhere.
No,
I mean, it can help to be good looking. I mean, I think that does
but
help
funny
you
is
in
king.
Yeah, but exactly. You can't be just hot and like just stand there and say hey and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work out for very long. You know
No.
what I mean? Somebody's going to notice.
100%.
So I think I'm drawn to it too because I like the fact that it's like your own. You have to be good at it. I mean, it's a real art.
The thing that drew me to it, and you can talk about this too, maybe is like, because coming from the acting world is like you're always waiting for other people and waiting for like a yes from somebody else, whereas like comedy's more like you go out and get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like acting is like you send off a tape, then you don't hear from 'em forever, and then you get called back, and like blah blah blah. And it's like I was very like I didn't even think about doing stand up until I was already acting, and I got sick of the and I still love to act, I do, but it's just like the whole process to get to the point where you're on set, where it's
Right.
like stand up, you just go out and get it, and
You can be on the stage any moment. Just go to any mic. And
exactly where it's like
basically-
you need 50 other people to shoot a scene. You know what I mean?
There's probably something to that. Yeah, that I like. I mean, I like acting. I mean, like I would get back into acting. I do. I really liked it. Like I was very into it. But it's so different to me. They're not the same at all.
No.
Like some people think that they're so like, oh, I'm a comedian actor. To me, that's very separate.
And
Even being a comedic actor is different than being a comedian.
100%.
Just because you're good in a sitcom does not mean you could be good in stand-up.
And
I
vice
have
versa.
seen some very famous specials where the person is so funny in the show and their stand-up special, not a joke.
No.
I'm like, who let you do that? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not necessarily interchangeable.
No, and I think vice versa. Like sometimes you have great stand-ups that just can't make it on the screen. You know what I mean? They are very different, and it's not like you said. You have the unique perspective, like of growing up doing acting. You know what I mean? And I think, and my perspective on it is a little different too because I produced the two movies. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, I don't want to produce another movie.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. All like. I never had to think about it until I was actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like every scene, every location, every fucking thing. It's like I just want to go up and I want to be on the creative side more. You know what I mean? Like if I do ever produce something again, it would be more of just like script writing and stuff like that than actual like logistics and locations. Like that's a wild world that I'm good at, but I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's that's
More
my
like a
whole
job
reason
than-
of getting into this whole industry is like I want to have a job that I don't feel like I'm like, I'll work all the hours that I've ever worked, you know what I mean? But Yeah, it's just a little different. Again, going back to a little bit of you growing up. Were your parents divorced? Were they ever together, or how did that whole dynamic?
They were.
They
They
were?
got married after my brother. I always tell him he's a bastard. um, they got married and they divorced when I was like 2. So they were.
Hey, mine got divorced when I was 2.
They are not suited. They
Yeah.
are very different people.
I always say that it's like I can't picture my parents ever being together. Like I mean, you know, like my dad died when I was young, when I was like 11, but I could never even like their personalities, you know what I mean? Were just, you know,
Right.
like me and my mom love her to death, but like I'm a lot like my dad.
Yeah.
So we butt heads on stuff because of that reason. It's like I could totally see you know, I could see why they broke
didn't.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. My parents, I'm just like, I don't know. It was so funny because the other day I was home in Minnesota, like, I don't know. Oh, at the beginning of September for my mom's 60th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom.
And that day, I guess, would have been, or the day after would have been their, one of their anniversaries, you know, whatever anniversary that would have been. And my mom texted, happy whatever anniversary. And my dad texts back, happy anniversary, darling. I mean, so they're very like, they can joke with each other, but they don't love each other. You know, they have love for each other, but they're like, they have nothing in common. Nothing. I mean, nothing.
That was the one nice thing about like my parents. They were always like, for the sake of kids, but they were like best friends. You know what I mean? It wasn't like tough for them to do, you know.
Oh, that's
they
good.
They were always, you know, like really cool with each other. So that was always nice. But I think it's stuff like, it's weird because the only reason I don't mean to pry, but it's just like stuff like that. Just I feel like that's what adds to us becoming comics. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I don't feel as though you're prying.
No, thank you. Yeah, you know.
I don't have a lot of.
I didn't give you any. Yeah, just in case you're wondering, I didn't give her any like hey, is there anything I shouldn't bring up?
No, I was like,
you know?
what do you talked about?
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, I got it. I'll guide this. I'll drive this train.
Hopefully it seems all right. But yeah, I feel like, you know, for you guys that know, it's like I have some stuff in my head. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll ask about this. But it's kind of all just, I want it to be you guys being a fly on the wall for a conversation. So that's kind of another appeal of the show is like none of this is scripted, of course. So it kind of just takes us wherever we end up. But I usually do a little bit of, you know, dumb questions at the end of the show.
Okay.
And I got to switch them up because I've been asking a lot of the same questions, but I feel like it's just more of what I'm interested in. I used to say, oh, they're like rapid fire questions, but then we end up talking about each subject for like fucking 10 minutes. So I kind of left that out. But do you have like a since you're a comic and an actress, I'll give you both because I usually do one or the other, but I'll give you both on this one. Do you have like a Mount Rushmore of comics, and do you have a Mount Rushmore of like actors? You can pick whichever one first. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no order to it. There's no like number one, number two. You just get to pick 4.
You just get to pick 4.
4 actors, and they could be comedic actors. Like mine actor wise is like Jim Carrey, like Denzel. Yeah, Jim Carrey's like my number one guy. Period. Denzel, probably Jamie Foxx, and then I guess I would say, actually no, I would take Jamie off and put like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. That's like my acting wise. Yeah.
God, this is hard.
It's tough. That's why
I don't know why it's
I
so
usually say
hard.
mine first, just so you have time to think, because I put you on the spot.
Well, I love Kirsten Dunst. I think she's so good.
That's a very Midwest 90s pick.
But like she was in, you know, she Interviewed with the Vampire when she was 10, and she's fucking amazing in that movie. But then also she's in Drop Dead Gorgeous, which is one of my favorite movies. And
R.I.P. Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley. I love Kirstie Alley. Rest in peace, but I don't think she's one of the best actors. She's a great comedic actress, though.
Hilarious.
If you haven't seen that movie, sorry, but it's not
Go
for rent
watch.
anywhere. You have to buy it on DVD or Bluray.
You have to go over to Heidi's house and watch
And
it on
I
DVD.
own it, so sorry about your bad rotten luck. No, watch it. It's so fucking funny. I think I've always thought she's such a good actress. Also, Little Women. Oh, Susan Sarandon. Oh, what a treasure.
This is why I love having you on, because everyone else is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. like,
I love Susan.
Sylvester
Susan
Stallone.
Sarandon was in The Client. She's in the riveting roller coaster of emotions that I just made my girlfriend watch on Thanksgiving, Stepmom. She hated it so much.
Isn't it the best when you show your partner you're like, I love this film? They're like,
And it's like 2.5 hours long. I didn't even know how long it was, and it's so sad.
I showed my girlfriend Saving Silverman. Have you ever seen that movie? It's like
God, not in
it's
years.
such a yeah, but it's like it was just like I was rewatching it halfway through. I'm like, she's probably fucking hating this. I was like,
I could tell. Every
Yeah.
time I looked at Ginger, she was like this, and she'd be like a big fake fucking smile.
Oh, that's so funny.
I love Susan Sarandon because she was also in Little Women. I loved Little Women as a kid.
So you got two.
Well, Robin Williams was my favorite
Yeah, he's another great
dude
pick.
actor.
Great pick. Do you get one more?
God, I'm feeling I'm gonna change all these. Like next week, I'm gonna be like, oh,
I know you're gonna rewatch it. Trust me, I get to repick every episode.
This isn't fair.
I get to repick every episode. So.
Oh, yeah, that's bullshit, man. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't even watched anything. I watch a lot of reality TV.
Really, you were one of those.
Snooki. No. No, I have actors, but go to the next question.
All right, so, do you want to do your comedians, or are we just going next?
Oh God, damn.
Because when you brought up Robin dying, like what really got me to like start hitting stand up out here, because I first came out just to act, not just to act, but like I just didn't really. I was like, okay, I'll do stand up here and there, but was Norm Macdonald dying? Like that's what really like you said, I didn't realize. That's what made you
want to do comedy.
I didn't realize until he died how like I was so like, you know, I hadn't cried since like my dad died when I was like 11, and like I didn't cry, but I was like very impacted by it for some reason, especially the fact that he didn't tell anybody, and it was out of nowhere, and it was like during a weird time where I was listening to a bunch of MF Doom, if you know that artist. I was listening to a bunch of MF Doom, and then he died on Halloween, and no one knew he died until New Year's. Like no one knew he was even dead, right? Like he kept it a secret, and then
he kept his own death.
He's kept his own death a secret. Isn't that wild? And then Norm Macdonald died, and no one knew he was sick. He had cancer for apparently like 10, 15 years. And
that's what Kirstie Alley just did.
Yeah,
Nobody knew she was sick.
It was, and I don't know why, but when that happened, I literally was like, I'm going to go to an open mic tomorrow, and that's when I went to Sean's, and that was back when I was at the bar, and yada yada yada. It was just.
That's a good story. That's inspirational.
Yeah, it was, and Norm. It was more, and this sounds, I'm not trying to, this is corny as fuck. It really is. But I was like, the world needs another Norm Macdonald. You know what I mean? Like, I swear to God, you know, I'm nothing like Norm. I never will be. But it's like, it was that kind of dry, just like, very, no one made me laugh like he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, my favorite joke of his is it would be a joke me and you would tell where he's like, yeah, you know, everyone's always worried about like Saudi Arabia and North Korea, you know, like he's like, I never go to bed worrying about. He's like, you know, there is one country I am worried about, Germany. It's like, I don't know if you guys know, but they went to war with the world twice. He's like, who do they think they are, Mars? You know, it's like I just love like how it's so factual and just literal, but it's just if you think about it, how hilarious it is, But yeah, so like. He would definitely be at the top of my like Mount Rushmore, and I think Robin would probably be on there too, and probably Richard Pryor and Red Fox, because Red Fox is the first guy I ever heard. Which funny story, I would hear like my dad listen to records of him. But just side note, Sean told me the other day, he's like, you know why I don't wear my Red Fox shirt anymore? I was like, why? And he's like, because I wore it, and he's like, every kid nowadays thinks it's Bill Cosby, and I was like, what?
Oh. And he's like, oh, you're wearing.
He would ask people like, hey, who's on the shirt? And they'd be like, Bill Cosby. And I'd be like, what the? Like, they don't look alike. They don't even like, but they're just two older black gentlemen from the same. Yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, so you said you Robin and.
Well, yeah, I also like, I don't know. I like a lot of comedians, but I love Jim Gaffigan for the fact that he can do everything clean. And just make me roll laughing.
Very dry, too.
I wish that I could be that clean. I mean, he says shit that you're like, I just think about that every fucking day. But I just didn't phrase it like that. Oh, my God. That's why he's so, like, universal. I just think he's such a talent. Like, he's so fucking funny. I used to be really into Daniel Tosh. Like when I first started, I wanted to be like Daniel Tosh. I wanted to be like the female Daniel Tosh. But I've re-listened to some of his stuff and I'm like, you're pushing it a little bit. Okay. Like some of it's just not, some of it's just for the sake of shocking.
Mm-hmm.
But I do realize he got famous and people got mad at him a lot. So he was doing that on purpose to
True.
piss those people off.
Yeah.
I still think Daniel Tosh is funny, but he hasn't really done anything lately, has he?
No, and he was huge for a long time.
Yeah. I used to think he was so funny. But I like that he pushes.
I love asking this question because it's like getting to see who your like people are is like that's how I see your comedy now from a different eye.
Well, that was like when I first like that's who
But
I
you
thought
are
was,
you
like,
your
he
entire
pushes that.
your comedy is somewhere between Jim Gaffigan and Daniel Tosh.
I wish I was more like Jim Gaffigan because he can just take the mundane.
But
you know what I mean?
What's funny because you're like me again. We talk about how similar our styles are, but like you're like me where you're not. How do I say it? Like I never knew that I don't swear a lot. Either do you. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't swear a ton.
I say fuck sometimes.
You say, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like how I do too. Like I'll say fucking cunt or whatever like here and there. But it's like it's more of a I did a clean show. And then I realized I'm like, oh, I can do the same jokes. But our material is dark.
I gotta see if I.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
that's true.
You think you're dirtier than you are. And I thought I was too. I was like, oh, I'm a dirty comic. And then I went and did a clean mic, and I was like, oh, wait, I can do the same exact thing. I'm just not – I don't swear a ton. Either do you, but you have dark material.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Maybe I could take some of my stuff.
I didn't realize until I did one at Cantor's Deli, and it's clean. And they were like – and I didn't know it was clean.
Cantor's Deli had a mic?
Dude, they passed me the microphone and said, hey, it's clean, by the way. And I'm like, oh. Like, it was no – like I got no warning before I was like about to go up.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's why I used to go on Tuesdays all the time. That's when I first started, out here.
I didn't know they had a mic.
Yeah, it's interesting.
There's another guy who's famous right now that I've been listening to a lot, and I fucking love him, and I can't think of his name.
Do you know Tim Dillon?
I don't. Maybe.
I feel like you would.
I would have to hear it. Comics, I'm like, I have to hear them because I will just put on comedy and just listen to the people. And if I like somebody, I'll be like, who is that? What is their name?
I gotta show you.
And then if I like somebody, I'll listen to their whole album.
I gotta show you his stuff because I just feel like you would love him. He's from like New Jersey or whatever, like big fat, like what you think he'd be like the most like Republican dude ever. He's like gay. But he's like he doesn't come. You would never know it. Yeah. And he's just like this guy. He was one of those newer comics that hit me out of nowhere, and I was just like, this guy is fucking hilarious.
This guy that I like, what's his name? I'll let you know after. But
okay.
He's so funny. He's got like, and he's very like. He's got the same, like, he talks about being really anxious and stuff and, like, being in situations that I'm like, I always fucking feel like that. I don't know. I like material that I relate to. And so, like, I just feel like I like comics that can take, like, the everyday shit. And then I'm just like, damn, that's so relatable.
Especially now that we're doing comedy, it's like I feel like I have to really, like somebody to sit down and watch their shit now, too. I'm, like, always surrounded by it.
Well, and I like, Dave Chappelle. I think he's so funny.
Yeah,
I know
I can't
he's
believe
really controversial.
I should have put him on my top.
But he's fucking obviously amazing.
Yeah, because he's one of those. He makes you laugh and think, which I like.
He has become lately like I feel like it's less jokes. Like his old stuff is more jokes, and this new stuff is it's a little TED talky. But he's still to me because I like him so much. I like it.
Yeah. And there has to be that guy that does that. You know what I mean? We need that right now.
Yeah.
I feel like George Carlin was like that back in the day. Like I would just watch it. He's a 2-part documentary on HBO right now that's amazing. It'll make you cry and laugh and everything. And it's kind of, I think he's at the stage in his career where George was at the end of his career where he was like, I need to like make people laugh, but I also need to like bring up some stuff. You know,
he wants to get it on the table.
Yeah, like
right,
100%.
But I think he's funny. I also think Kevin Hart's very funny. Stand-up is really funny. I like him in movies too.
yeah, right.
He's just funny.
Well, if you go to the movies, he's in one. He's doing everything. That guy.
Yeah.
Him and The Rock.
Oh, The Rock. The Rock doesn't do stand-up, thank God.
Yeah, right. It's the only thing he doesn't do.
I don't know. I don't know that he'd be funny.
He does everything. That fucking guy. I swear.
Yeah, he does.
He does too much. All right. Last 2 questions because I always ask these 2. Again, I gotta switch them up. I'm sorry if you guys are bored of the same questions, but these are what I'm interested in. If you were any dog, what breed of dog would you be?
A dog.
And I know I'm asking you specifically because I know you love dogs.
Yeah, I do. Well, I have a Chihuahua mix, but I don't know. Chihuahuas burrow. I do like to be burrowed. Ooh, I would be carried around.
It might be a Chihuahua, huh?
But no, I feel like I'd be fuzzier than that. Like maybe I'd be like a Pomeranian or something.
Yep.
I don't know,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. But I think like I'd be more friendly.
I was gonna say they're a little snappy, those little palms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I be like a golden retriever Chihuahua mix?
Yeah, we'll breed that up for you real quick.
Golden Wawa?
Not a pug.
What kind of dog would you be?
Me, I would love to be a Bernese Mountain Dog because they're like big and furry and friendly, and they just look, they love everybody and everything. But
What a weird question. What kind of dog?
yeah, I usually ask what your favorite dog is. But you being a dog lover, I wanted to know what kind of dog you would be. So
I think I would like to being carried around.
Yeah.
And taken places.
Pomeranian seems perfect for you. Like honestly, because when you said Chihuahua, I was like, it's missing. Yeah, when you said it was a little furrier, that was
maybe
probably...
a Papillon.
Oh, now I know Paps. I'm a dog lover. That's why. I'm a huge dog guy. So, and then the other one. This is my favorite question to ask, so we'll end on this one. If you had any superpower, what would it be?
Teleport.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Why?
That's exactly, and that's your flight attendant to you.
I fucking hate getting
Because
anywhere.
so usually everyone else they'll say another superpower, and then they'll be like, "What's yours?" And I'll be like, "Teleport." And they're like, "I want to switch."
Yours is teleport?
100%. That's why.
See?
Yeah, you can check all
It's
of
even
it.
better than flying. People are like, wouldn't you like to fly? I'm like, no, because flying wouldn't be speedy. You don't get to be super speed and fly. It's one superpower.
We're kindred
Teleport.
spirits. That's exactly. That's
I've never
mine.
met another teleporter.
I've never met another teleporter.
Cheers.
Oh God, I love it. Well, you guys already know my reasons for loving teleport, but it's all the same reasons because I wouldn't, I have no patience.
You could sleep as late as you want. I mean,
You'd be back in Minnesota in 10 minutes.
I could be anywhere I want to be,
Mhm.
man. I would get so much done.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll end because that was honestly the best answer we've had so far for that question. Heidi, do you have any? You want to obviously give your Instagram and?
Oh, my Instagram right now is Heidi Your Wife.
Heidi Your Wife.
Yep. Like hide your wife.
We get it. Don't worry.
Hide your kids.
I know some people don't, but we get
I
it.
had it hide your kids, but somebody was like, "That's a little pedophile." I said, "Okay, I'll change it."
Well, yeah. Look at her Instagram. Follow her. You can see all her upcoming shows around LA. Maybe you'll be on a JetBlue flight here pretty soon, and
Fun.
and she'll give you some pretzels or something.
Yeah.
Heidi, thanks so much for coming on. This was a great. This was a fun time.
Fun.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Sons of Humor TV out.